It's just after 10 o'clock on our Wednesday, and we are in the midst of the first significant to major winter storm of the season for most of Newfoundland. The snow is falling heavily in some areas, and the rates are beginning to ratchet up for the Burin and Avalon Peninsulas. We'll talk about all that and more in detail in this morning's update after I thank today's sponsor, Robotham Mackay Marshall. Visit makethecall.ca to learn more about what the law firm can do for you. As we take a look at the live radar right now across Newfoundland, we can see there is some very heavy snow falling in some areas, denoted by the darker shades of blue. And we're also seeing the rain beginning to show up on the radar sweep as well. For the most part, though, that rain is still south of most of Newfoundland. Although for southern areas of the Avalon Peninsula, the extreme south, we are seeing rain in some areas of the Burin Peninsula. We're also seeing rain this morning, although they may have flipped back to snow. We look at temperatures right now. It's 4 degrees down in Cape Race, looking at 1 degree in Placentia. Metro area temperatures at 0. Greats Cove at 0. Marystown now down to 0 with the increasing snowfall rates. Looks like St. Lawrence is still 2 degrees, so it likely is raining, at least in that area for the time being. And we can also confirm this by looking at the webcams. And as I bring these on, we can start on the Avalon Peninsula, showing that the road conditions, they are going south as the snowfall rates are beginning to ratchet up. Heart's Content Barrens, not looking too bad right now. Holyrood, TCH is looking passable, but it certainly is slippery and snow covered. And there we can see the rain in Trepassey. But on Salmonier Line, we are still seeing the snow. Whitburn still snowing pretty good at the moment. Into Clarenville, it's snowing. Goobies, it's snowing. Port Rexton on the Bonavista Peninsula seeing the snow. Duns River, Grand Bank seeing the snow right now. Salt Pond looks like it is snowing, but it might be a fight between rain and snow. And I would think that as you go north of Salt Pond towards areas like Bain Harbor and toward Swift Current, I know that's kind of a long way away, you will find the snow, and the ride on the Burin Peninsula Highway is likely fluctuating between slushy and rainy and very snowy at the moment. And to northeastern Newfoundland, not snowing very hard in Gander right now, not snowing hard in Lumsden just yet, but it will increase in intensity as the afternoon does progress. We get back to Lewisport, it's snowing. Springdale snowing pretty good right now. And western Newfoundland looks like slick and snow-covered roads in some areas, but it's not too bad. Snow in the Port Peninsula at the moment. Southwestern Newfoundland seeing the snowfall. The South Coast seeing the snowfall in the Great Northern Peninsula. Well, as expected, there's not really a whole lot on the go there right now. So going back to the radar, what we can see is it is snowing in blue, but we can't see, at least on this map here, is the intensity of the precipitation. So we get rid of the precipitation depiction. We just look at the rates, and what we can see are the yellows and the darker greens showing up, and they are moving north. That's the increasing snowfall rates, and we are going to begin to make most of our snow here over the next few hours into the afternoon. Now, interestingly, it does look like the rain snow line is sitting somewhere in here at the moment, but actually we can look at a different radar product to see the rain snow line. And I want to bring that up for you right now. And what this is called is correlation coefficient. And I need to select the proper radar so we can see it here. But what we are looking for on this map, essentially on this chart, is where we see a line of basically very uniform color to very non-uniform color. And we can see that showing up right now south of most of Newfoundland. So this, to me, is the rain, ice, snow line, and it is still pretty far south of most of the Avalon Peninsula. It has moved on to parts of the Burin Peninsula, but at that level we are seeing pretty high up in the atmosphere. So we might be seeing some ice pellets mixed in there as well. And as we set that into motion, it is moving north, but it's not moving north overly quickly. So it's going to be a few hours before we see that essential flip to rain or freezing rain, which means and tells me the forecast, at least for the time being, is on track. And I'm going to do a special live broadcast this afternoon as we get closer to the changeover. So what do we have alert-wise in effect from Environment and Climate Change Canada? A yellow warning for snowfall for Buckens in the interior, Grand Falls, Windsor, Bay of Exploits, Gander, and Bonavista North for up to at 20 centimeters of snow, which is essentially what my forecast agrees with as well. And then Burin Peninsula, Avalon Peninsula also under the yellow warning for snowfall for up to about 20 or 30 centimeters of snow. In some areas, it'll be less in some areas that are obviously in the south and or seeing the rain mixing in. We've got a orange winter storm warning for Conagra, Clarenville, Terra Nova, and the Bonavista Peninsula for up to 40 centimeters of snow. In some of those areas, likely closer to 30. And then a yellow warning for a winter storm for Burgeo Ramia for also significant amounts of snow and also wind. We'll touch on the wind here in just a second. But timing out the snowfall. So as we go through midday, we are seeing that rain snow ice line moving north, likely north of Marystown at that point, but still primarily south of much of the southern shore, south of the TCH, and roughly covering the southern half of the Burin Peninsula. So it's going to be a little while until we see that rain snow line lift north, but it does look like it will do that between roughly 12 and 3 for most of the Avalon and the Burin Peninsulas. It's still snowing to beat the band at that point from Clarenville up to the Bonavista Peninsula, and on the northeast coast where temperatures are closer to freezing and we're not getting that real warm air moving in. Now recall yesterday I was talking about how that warm front may not move through and temperatures are going to struggle to get quite warm on the northeast Avalon. Well, that looks to be the trend now. Only 3 degrees is what the computer here is showing as we go into 6 p.m. So something to kind of watch. Maybe it might get warmer than that. It might not. But as we get into the evening, it's still raining for the Avalon, or at least most of it. But here's this next batch of snow, and that's working back to the east. So it's still snowing for areas of eastern, northeastern Newfoundland by 8 p.m. Rain on the Avalon, but that will go back to a few more hours of snow overnight before it does wind down by tomorrow morning. So when it comes to my EC Fit forecast, I think I gave a forecast of 23 centimeters. If we're at like 18 or 19, maybe we'll get that couple more later this evening, and that will certainly help. So I don't have to do the cardio tomorrow. That will live stream if I got to do it. All right, so here's a snowfall forecast. Again, that 30 to 40 swath, northern part of the Burin Peninsula, Bonavista Peninsula, Bonavista Bay, back towards Conagra. As we go farther east, again, we're looking at 15 to 30, pretty widespread. But also remember that we are now seeing some rain on the Burin Peninsula, so areas like Marystown and St. Lawrence, probably not going to end up at 15. You might be significantly lower than that, but I'm still confident this area here of the Burin Peninsula up towards Terranceville, Swift Current will do quite well with this winter storm. And then obviously southern areas of the Avalon are already seeing the rain, and that is not really going to change as we go through time here. Off to the west, we're looking at again the significant snow, Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor, between 15 and 30 centimeters for you as well, likely closer to 15. South coast, same thing, like closer to 15, and then the west coast, somewhere in 5 to 15, probably closer to 5 for a lot of areas, but we'll see. And the northern peninsula, once you're south of Lake St. Anthony, you'll pick up a little bit in Glebe, Port au Choix, Roddickton areas, sure, but not expecting a whole lot on the northern peninsula with this round of snow. The other thing to keep note of is the wind. We've got a yellow wind warning for the Burin Peninsula for this afternoon and the Avalon Peninsula for this evening into the overnight, and the wind speed forecast will show that really well. Winds right now out of the east in town as high as about 30. We are going to see those gusts pick up, and they're gusting to about 44 kilometers per hour right now. And in the metro area, the winds are going to peak gusting as high as about 100 overnight. Bonavista Peninsula as well. On the Burin Peninsula, your winds are gusting to 72 right now. They'll peak between now and essentially this evening. And we'll talk about the wind forecast, the wind speeds, everything else coming up here in my next update, which will be this afternoon. I'm going to do a live update, which is going to be sponsored by Hickman Automotive Group, one of my key partners, and we'll get into that this afternoon, and I'll post a time on that when I'm closer to it, and I'll also put up in the app and a notification when I'm going to be going live. But it seems like a lot of you are home today. A lot of things are closed. Schools are closed. A lot of businesses are closed or closing early as the snowfall rates are beginning to increase. And again, we may see rates here this afternoon, or this morning rather, of 5+ centimeters per hour. So the forecast looks like it is relatively on track. All right, next update later today. In the meantime, have a good Wednesday. Stay safe, and as we get that change, I will send out a push alert letting you know when the best time is to clear off that driveway and do your shoveling before the rain gets bogged down before the snow gets bogged down with rain, rather. All right, talk soon. Have a good Wednesday, and thanks for watching.